Good morning, everybody. I'm David Thomas. I'm with Mr. Joshua Blevins. We're here today with Ahead of the Curve Live just to go over some information and talk about the release that the city of Shelbyville put out yesterday, late yesterday afternoon, Josh.
Yeah.
Concerning the, I guess you would call it a point of contention over some sales tax money.
The sales tax debacle.
The sales tax debacle. It's back on February 9th, the city council voted 4-3. The mayor broke the tie to move forward with legal proceedings, I guess, or to pursue the sales tax grab of getting the money back that was given up in 1974.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of numbers that you've crunched, Josh, to look at the exact structure of this and how much money we're talking about. And there's been a lot of questions tossed out since yesterday afternoon that we posted this. So why don't you give us some numbers?
Yeah, I'll try. It's a lot of numbers, and I mean, I think before we even get into the numbers, I think both of us would agree right off the bat, the biggest issue here, apart from the numbers, apart from the tax, is we've got two branches of local government that are supposed to be representing you and I.
Right.
And they're fighting. They can't get along. They can't seem to get in a room and meet. And instead, we've both hired lawyers, and now we're spending taxpayer money on attorneys, which is
Well, if I'm a resident of the city, I'm paying for both sides.
You're paying two different sets of attorneys to fight yourself.
Okay, yes, exactly.
Over your money.
Exactly. So I feel like, did you ever see the scene in Liar Liar where Jim Carrey went to the bathroom and he stuck his head on the toilet and started banging it with the toilet because he was beating himself up? That's how I kind of feel right now.
Feels like we're punching ourselves in the face.
Exactly. So I know it's, how much money are we actually talking about annually?
Yeah, so the annual amount that's up for discussion, debate, in question is roughly $2 million a year currently at current sales tax revenues. Basically, the history is, as from what I've gathered from reading and a lot of research, 1974, there was a referendum to raise the local option sales tax by 0.75%. And the agreement at the time of the referendum was all of that money would go into retiring bonds for school construction.
Right.
The issue that's come up now, 50 years later, is that agreement didn't have an end date. It was just, apparently it just was, either it was meant to go on forever. I actually went today and placed a public records request to try to get a copy of the agreement because I've not seen that anywhere that I've been able to get my hands on yet. To actually read the wording and see how it was worded. But so far, there's been no end to the agreement. So we're, here we are 50 years later, and that money's still going to the same place. A lot of the comments I've seen where I think there's maybe a little confusion is people feel like the $2 million, if it goes from the county to the city, that immediately that comes off the school's main budget and suddenly we're cutting teachers, we're cutting payroll or whatever. None of this money goes into the what's called the 141 general, what do we call that? The general purpose school fund.
Right. This goes into our general county funds, correct?
It goes into the 151 debt service fund, which funds the bonds that we use to build the schools, the court building, the jail that was built a few years ago, the new juvenile facility that's going to be, coming up pretty soon for a vote. So if this money were moved, which we're not taking a side here, we're just trying to explain what's going on. This is not talking about, we're about to fire a bunch of teachers. We're about to cut people's pay. This is money used to retire debt on construction for schools.
Yeah. Okay. And we have construction for schools continuing to this day.
We got a lot of construction for schools going on right now. Obviously, Cartwright is very close to finishing. I think they're supposed to be turning over the keys. Last I saw, I cannot remember the date. I want to say sometime this summer. But in addition to that, there's a lot of just smaller construction going on. We've got some wings going on at some schools. We've got concession stand at Cascade High School. We've got ag projects at Cascade and Community. And just recently, there's talk of a new bus depot going in next to Cartwright and another $1.8 million construction project that we're doing out of the schools. And a lot of this, and part of this was in the statement from the city, and possibly a lot of why the city is going after this now. There was a new funding procedure put in this year from the state called TISA, and it's drastically increased the amount of money the state is putting into our schools. The county's not.
I think there's a misconception that our county funds our education system here, and it does not. It does to a point.
A fraction.
10 to 11,000 or something like that. 10 to 11 million.
Yeah.
And the rest is the state is the predominant fund.
Yeah. So overall numbers are our general purpose school fund last year was 69.9. We'll call it $70 million. And under the new funding formula, the new budget amendment that will actually be voted on next week at the county level, schools will be getting $91.26 million this year, which is a $21.2 million increase or 30%. Wow.
So I know Dr. Garrett's proud to get that.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But I just, as we were talking before we went on air, we saw a couple comments, people saying they're working in the school system, they're worrying about being underfunded or not getting enough funding. If you're a teacher or you're working at Bedford County Schools and you feel like you're underfunded right now, you need to be talking to the school board, because they got another, $21.2 million to distribute this year. And if you don't have enough for supplies, or, you feel like the pay is too low or whatever, the school board makes those decisions. That doesn't happen. The county commission approves that budget, but they don't have any kind of line item veto on that. All that happens at the school board level. And you need to be talking to everybody has a school board member that represents them, depending on where they're at in the city. You need to be talking to them and saying,
the last time I looked at the numbers, I think the county was funding our Bedford County schools. The percentage was about 17%. Now, that was a couple of years ago, and I don't know what it is now. With this increase from the state, you've got to think that is a less amount, maybe around the 14, 15%, maybe even less than that.
I don't know the percentage, but I've got the dollar figure here. So for this year, the county local taxes, we're putting in $13 million of that 91.2 million. So whatever percentage that will be, but yeah, so 13,
14%, 13 or 14%.
Yeah,
probably.
75. Well,
no,
with the increase from the new TISA increase, they're at states at $76.8 million coming from the state.
Okay, that's where we're getting funded.
That's where the money's coming.
That's
from.
Right.
Coming
okay.
From the state.
So then the $2 million that the city's wanting to get back is a drop in the bucket as far as education goes, but it's not even attached to education. It's attached to the building debt
construction.
Retirement.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's education construction. So yeah, which we need. As we've talked about, quite a bit. There's a lot of new construction coming to town.
Oh, and
all those houses are going to have kids, and all those kids are going to need a school.
Yeah.
And the county's been quick to say that we're about to get all the kids out of portables. But if we don't immediately start building another school right behind Cartwright, they're going to be right back in those portables in about 2 years at the rate we're growing.
I could make an argument for either side of this, Josh, but here's the problem. I wouldn't hire an attorney to sue myself.
To fight myself.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Why do we have, two high-powered, high-dollar attorneys out of Nashville fighting, instead of the people that are literally in offices across the street from each other on the square, sitting down and hashing this out.
Yeah. I mean, it's like probably 75 yards apart.
Right. Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, one corner to this. I mean, you walk right across.
You can almost yell back and forth without
open the windows.
Your office.
Open the windows.
Yeah.
And you can talk about it, but it gets to a point, I think, Josh, where the people have got to say, look, guys, get in a room and work this out.
Right. Yeah. I think
this is family.
Yeah. If you're in the city, you've got 2 county commissioners and 1 city council person that represents you. Wear them out. Email them. If they've got their phone numbers public, call them. Every meeting of the city and the county now, they allow public comment. Show up at that meeting and, speak out.
See, here's my fear. Okay, if the city goes ahead with this, and somehow they pull this off and win it, that's $2 million that's coming out of that fund. I immediately see a property tax increase for county. All right. And when you increase it for the county, that means everybody in the city's paying it too.
Yeah. You're paying it either
It
way.
doesn't make any sense, Josh.
Yeah, exactly. We're fighting over our money that's coming out of our pocket, going into taxes, going back to pay for services that we get. So
when you step back, Josh, and just look at this and go, I say, what?
Yeah.
I mean, what is up with this?
Yeah.
So I know the city needs to fund things. There's no question they have stuff to fund, but the last I heard, our city was in pretty good shape financially, and I don't know what that looks like now, and I don't know what stresses they have. I know we always are needing more police officers,
right?
And we're needing more firemen. We need staff, and our public works is waning.
Public Works is way understaffed from what we got at that meeting a few weeks ago, and then both fire and police at the city level are in facilities that were built in the 60s. Right. So the facilities downtown need to be replaced, and we've had so much growth on the north side of the city that they want additional facilities on the north side.
Right, and that was pretty much stated in the statement that they put out.
They put out by the city. Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know where this goes, Josh, but who wins in this?
The lawyers win.
Okay.
Yeah. They're getting a nice new car out of this at a minimum.
Oh, well, from what I understand, we've already spent close to $200,000 from the city side, $200,000 to talk about this. Okay. And the county is probably at,
I think we're more like 200 combined between both.
Oh, is it?
But yeah, I think we're at like one. The city has approved up to 125 in funding so far, and the county, I don't know. I would assume is a similar amount just because.
Yeah, but I thought they had come back and up that.
They did too. They did a $50,000 first vote and then 75 the second, I believe.
Okay, so you're saying then it's probably 200,000 between
combined,
the two.
Yeah, between
and,
the two.
And we hadn't even started litigating.
We're not even gone to court yet. So yeah.
Well, I don't know, Josh, what to make of this. To me, as a citizen that lives in Bedford County, I don't live in the city, but I have a business in the city, and I pay city property taxes for that business and the county.
Right.
I feel like I'm in the middle of a boxing ring, and I'm the referee, and I'm getting punched from both sides.
From both sides, yeah.
So I don't understand. I mean, I don't know. Do the citizens of Bedford County and the citizens of Shelbyville and Bedford County, that sounds weird saying, do they want this? Do they want this litigation to take place?
I don't know that anybody wants this. I'm not even sure a lot of the city council people and the county commissioners want any of this. So I think a lot of them would rather sit down. I'm not sure who ultimately is driving this other than maybe legal advice from the attorneys that are getting a check out of it.
Well, you're definitely going to hear attorneys say sue always.
Right. Yeah.
So my question to everybody out here, what do you want? Please comment, give us some comments, and voice your opinion on, is this good for our local governments to be fighting?
Yeah.
Tell us, do you want this to go to a lawsuit and be worked out in court, or do you think they should get in a room and work this out? That's a question for you guys, because you guys are paying for it. Just a simple fact. Josh, You got any other numbers that you've crunched that's pertinent to this story?
No, I think we covered, most of them. Yeah, most of the important numbers. I think even like I said early on, more important than the numbers is just getting the two parties in the room and, hashing this out without. Yeah, because the number that is growing every day is the attorney fee.
Yeah.
So
I think the city council and I think the commission should get in a room and just say, guys, we need to work this out and come out with an agreement tonight. And get it done. Yeah. Order a pizza if they can do that. Okay. And just get it done. But we just want to keep everybody informed, Josh, and let everybody know what's going on. And if you have a concern about this, if you live in the city, like Josh says, you have two county commissioners as well. Give them a buzz, contact your councilman or council person, and voice your concerns. And hopefully they can get this worked out, and we don't have to continue funding these BMWs and Audis that our fine attorneys are driving.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back again with updates on this as they come along. And please voice your opinion. And we look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you real soon.